Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another CounterSide video. Today's video we're going to talk a little bit about some soldier characters, notably the low cost ones, to give you guys a better idea of who is worth investing on. Alright, so let's jump into it. So if you guys are not aware, Curian is now available in global finally. And the truth is, you might be thinking, okay, I want to run a soldier team now. Who is going to be the best characters moving forward, right? So, Curian is going to be a very expensive character because he's an awakened 6 cost. Makes a lot of sense. So you want to pair Curian with some low cost characters or other damage dealers preferably. So Rifleman is going to be like the obvious choice for a lot of players because you probably already have this guy built. How good is Rifleman though compared to, let's say, Warden? Because Warden by default is also a 2 cost sniper. So right now, global players should have access to this guy already. Besides these two, we also have other options, notably Rearm Sorim, which is available to global players right now. Alright, if you guys still are deciding if you want to rearm your Sorim, this is kind of a good video to reference her damage. And last but not least, also Rearm Rivet, which a lot of players don't have access to yet, but you will get her eventually. So with that being said, let's talk about 4 of these characters. Let's do a comparison because 4 of these are going to be the main damage dealers for soldier teams. Warden versus Rifleman versus Rearm Sorim versus Rearm Rivet. Now, the truth is, hopefully you guys will be able to tell later on, is the damage difference is actually not too surprising. I think a lot of you guys can guess who is going to do the most damage. And regarding Rearm Sorim, she shines slightly more in PvP if you have the ability to activate the ultimate skill for sure. Same alongside with Rearm Rivet. But some of you guys might be thinking to, you're trying to build something that's much more PvE focused. So in that case, Rearm Sorim and Rearm Rivet might not be as useful. So let's jump into it. Okay, so this is with their respective gears. Currently I have separate gears on them, right? So keep in mind different substats whatsoever, so it's not going to be a fair comparison. Rifleman 2.4 million, and then we have Warden doing 2 billion right here, Sorim at 1.7, and Rearm Rivet at 1.3. Okay, so you can see right now DPS wise, obviously the Rifleman is going to be highest, following in this particular order. So this is going to be, again, like I said, I'm using gears on them, but not all of them have equal gears, right? Some might be better than others. So let's unequip some gears and have a look at the results afterwards. Okay, so Rifleman, I'm going to unequip this gear. In case you guys are wondering, I'm currently using Spectral Chain alongside with Spectral Gear. Alright, this one is a bit weird, attack invasion, but I do get a good substat. Substat is going to be much more important overall. But regardless, if you look at the right here, the important one is anti-ground damage at 43.4%. It's around there. I'm going to unequip all, and then we're going to browse through. So, Rearm Sorim. I have Spectral Chain as well, following by attack for this particular one. Attack is going to be this one. You can go with Skill Haste, that's going to be better for PvP, but it depends on what you're using her for. For PvE, if you're just looking at raw damage, going for attack speed, something along those lines is going to be better. So this is how much I have. Anti-ground damage is only 28%, so not as high as the Rifleman's one, but regardless, unequip this. Warden, in my opinion, I have the best gear right here. So this is going to be Spectral Blaze. Alright, so again, we have 44.8% anti-ground damage. Alright, so I'm going to unequip that. And then last but not least, Rearm Rivet. So this one I do have mostly about the 29% attack anti-ground damage, attack speed 30%, but high crit damage, so it depends on whether or not she can crit. The crit is about 27 or 28% rather. I'm gonna unequip that. So let's go. Let's jump into. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait until we get about 10 cost, and then I'm gonna activate the auto, so they all come out at the same time. Alright, so that way we'll get a much more consistent result when we are testing them. Because these are the characters, the low cost soldier units right now, bam, so they all appear at the same time as deployed. So obviously some characters are going to be coming up sooner than others. So let's try this without gears. Let's see who is actually better between these 4 soldiers, right, damage wise. Alright, and we are done. Okay, so let's have a look. Now I'm curious who actually does the most raw damage between these soldiers. Alright, let's go to better statistics. Almost clicked wrong right there. Okay, so looking at this particular chart now, things are a little bit different. Okay, so we can observe and notice a couple of things. Number one, apparently Warden does more damage than Admin Rifleman. Okay, I guess Admin Rifleman has better scaling with gears because I'm pretty sure Warden has better gears than Admin Rifleman. Alright, so there's no way something like Spectral Gear boosts Admin Rifleman to above Warden. So this is something that I guess is something that's unique to Admin Rifleman alone. They are still going to be the best soldier in the long run. Rivet and Sorim doesn't even come close. Alright, if you're looking at PvE scenario, yeah, PvP, I can see why Rearm Rivet or Rearm Sorim is going to be much more beneficial. Keep in mind, when you rearm them, yeah, they're pretty relatively cheap because it's SR characters. I get it. But again, they don't come close to how much Admin Rifleman or Warden could do in terms of, you know, scaling and damage-wise. So hopefully with that being said, whenever Curian comes in global server, Warden is going to be available to farm as one of the substream character free SSR for you to be able to obtain from the shop. So hopefully make sure you guys don't miss out on this, because I do think that this is a very useful information for a lot of free-to-play players. You're going to have the damage. Obviously, it's going to depend on a couple of things as well, right? So number one, we are looking at right here a ranger versus a sniper. But keep in mind, I am attacking a gap. Machine gap that is a supporter right here, so none of them has the damage bonus. Alright, so the advantage, roll advantage bonus or whatsoever. So it still depends on who you're fighting against for the enemies. I do think that Warden has a lot of potential, and so does Admin Rifleman if you are able to get them up to 110. So I do think, yes, it's definitely worth it. Keep in mind, Warden is an SSR, so they are going to be way more expensive to get to 110 compared to Admin Rifleman. Admin Rifleman is going to be cheaper, alright, because being an SR, it consumes less fusion core. Now, something to keep in mind is also the tankiness, which I think is hard to showcase or hard to do testing, but Warden do have ideally more tankiness. You can look at right here, 21,000 HP versus Admin Rifleman, which has 20,000. Alright, defense, Admin Rifleman has 300, alright, whereas Warden has defense of 523. Alright, so although 0 evasion for Warden, Admin Rifleman is going to have slightly more evasion. Not that it matters that much. Warden does have the tankiness because of this particular one. The passive skill here creates barrier worth of 10% of max HP for 6 seconds every 15 seconds. So this barrier enhancement is going to be significantly improved, as you can see right here, and activates every 12 seconds instead. So it's going to make Warden really tanky if you are looking for PvP, PvE scenario. I guess in PvE it doesn't really matter because you're going to set it up with like Young Harem or Awakened Shinja to give them shield, to give them barrier whatsoever, right? But much more for PvP scenario, you're going to try to observe it and you will be able to notice that Admin Rifleman tends to die way more often than Warden. But regardless, they are both probably the best 2-cost soldiers right now. Alright, so hopefully this is able to give you guys a little bit of idea. Alright, so between some of these soldiers, it seems like Admin Rifleman is still number one, scaling wise with gears. Rearm Rivet doesn't even come close. I'm guessing she only really shines in PvP when you are fighting against like a particular enemy, because right now you can see this particular one, anti-counter and CO damage. There's a lot of anti-counter and CO damage. She has a lot of that. 20%, 10%, 10%, I think total of 60% or more. 80% it seems like, based on my calculation. So it's quite a lot. Ideally, outside of PvP scenario, she doesn't really do much per se compared to Warden and Admin Rifleman. Alright, so hopefully you guys find this helpful. Best soldiers to build if you guys are looking for just, doesn't necessarily have to be in a soldier team, but Warden and Admin Rifleman, they are both really flexible. I do think that they fit really well into any teams. But obviously, if you have a soldier team, soldier ship whatsoever, to buff their attack more, it's going to give them the higher output damage than, you know, than your other counters or mechs whatsoever. But yeah, that's up to you if you guys want to build them along with a team or put them in whatever counter teams that you have. They are still pretty flexible. Alright, subscribe for more. If you guys haven't already, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.